angels and beloveds. I hope this finds you very well today. So I'm Noelle Rose Anderson, hyphen, Kale. I'm married, the Dance Warrior. And what do I do? For those of you who are just tuning in and getting to know me and getting to know my company, Rubans Rouges Dance, Red Ribbons, Noelle's Pillows, all these wonderful things that I love to do. I'm primarily an entertainer. I just happen to be gifted at so many other things, right brain, left brain, all of it. And I want to enjoy my life, and I want to help you enjoy your life too. So as the Dance Warrior, I love to impart upon you little tidbits to help you be a better performer, dancer, actor, whatever it is that you do. But primarily dance, because that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. But I'm also an author, writer, screenwriter, seamstress. This is a very small list. I do everything basically, and I don't have enough hours in the day to do everything I would love to do, but I manage somehow to do the most important things at that moment. I also help curate and produce Awakenings and Beginnings International Dance Festival, in which my dance company produces annually, and we're ramping that up even more and more. We don't have a performance space yet for the main production, but that's okay. We've been doing little master classes and events and all these great little supportive things here and there, and if we have to make this whole festival last a whole year until we get a main performance space, then so be it. But we're just going to have fun along the journey, and I hope you'll come join us for that. So this episode is called In a Nutshell, and I was challenged, and it is a challenge, to basically describe to you in a nutshell what has been happening to me in my life. So as a screenwriter or as somebody who's pitching a project, you want to be able to summarize it in 1 to 3, maybe even 4 sentences. And it doesn't have to go over all the finite details, but just kind of a broad stroke. If you were pitching a story and you wanted investors, what has, something that has a hook, something that is truthful, that depicts the project completely. So I use those skills that I have when pitching projects, and I'm really good at that, and kind of come up with that so I could basically impart upon you guys a way to understand it. Because as you can see, look at all these videos we've done recently, and when I say recently, within the last 5 to 6 weeks, I think we've added almost 100, if not more. That's a lot of material to go through. So it's very detailed. We don't mention any names, but you can really see what we've been going through. And then we also have, in the midst of all of that, we're still kind of dancing, kind of doing all of our other artwork and all these other things, because life must go on even though we're in the middle of the battle. I have to pause a little bit here and there, so does my family, so does my board and company members, because we have to deal with this stuff, because if we don't, this may affect you too. So, in a nutshell, and the subtitle is, They Made Me a Resource for Intellectual Property via Using Intense Surveillance, and other things, So that's the subtitle. Now, if I were to pitch this, that's actually a good pitch line. But even better, a little more detailed, social media used an app to spy on me and my company to glean my intellectual property and private conversations, which would contain intellectual property, where we were going, what we were doing, because we didn't use check-ins, maybe once or twice, and I'm like, this not right, something's wrong with us. I didn't like it. So here's my little outline that I like to do, It helps keep me on beat, on path. Listen to my other videos. I just think there's so much I want to share. I will never be in front of a camera without anything to say. I just think of things I want to share with people. I've been through so much too, and that helps for inspiration. My own life, I don't need to look elsewhere. My own life is inspiration, and apparently other corporations think that too. And I'm just showing you an at-a-glance reference point here. This is my outline, and I'm going to fill in the blanks. But I was also challenged, can you do it in less than 5 minutes? Well, let's look at the time. I just met 5 minutes. So yeah, I guess I could, in a nutshell. Now I'm going to go into more depth of what we've been going through, what I've been going through, and try to connect more of the dots and my history, because it's very interesting to me. And then there are bullet points and more details within each main point too. It's that challenging. I think I'll actually do that and make a real detailed outline. We're working on a timeline. We're finishing up the access map, access points and all of that. So it's very interesting. So that's pretty intense, you would think, right? But it gets even worse and more intense. Now, not only social media, but we found out in our quest, in the discovery phase, it was other corporations. Now, it's not all corporations. I'm making a very clear disclaimer here. I'm not going to name names either, but it's not all corporations. There are so many. I would say there are more good than evil corporations. There are more good than evil people. There are more entities that are brilliant and want to help. Unfortunately, I've been stuck in this, what I refer to as a marketing funnel, and they probably call it that too, and they try to shove all this, to protect it legally in a sense, which it's not. If you just pull it out, you say, well, this doesn't fall under marketing. None of this does. But here, marketing funnel, and I'm with my family and company. We're having a challenging time getting out of this stupid marketing funnel. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. So it's not all corporations, and the commonalities seem to be in tech and media, which is a little disturbing, disappointing, and heartbreaking because, I have a background in media myself. It's almost like a betrayal, and I guess it is, right? So tech seems to have been used as the accessor, the access point. And media is the one who used whatever they accessed. So they were accessing my intellectual property, private conversations, plans, everything that we went through in another video that the FBI lists, things that can be or fall prey to an attack. And we are under attack. And detractors would like to minimize that and try to, call me like a crybaby, which that has not happened. Me crying over this. I'm getting pissed is what it is. Et cetera, et cetera. But even still, okay, call me names. What does that make you? This is real what's happening. We have evidence. So, I think you are protesting too much. Isn't that in Shakespeare? They're usually the guilty party now, aren't they? Just saying, based on literature and possibly based on reality too, but more on that later. So, when word got out about me, this phenom, okay, I'll admit I'm pretty good at this stuff. Phenom? I don't know, but maybe. Could be. I see all my screenplays and dances before I even start. That's a skill beyond skill that I know of. And I know a lot of people that do these things as colleagues, and, I think I'm really good. It doesn't make me a better person. I just know where I'm gifted, and so do other people. So when word of me got out, we found various points of access. And this was via electronics, our garbage, our trash. And that was used to see, what brands do I like? Wouldn't be too hard to figure it out, especially because our fellow residents here started packaging, and we got a thing in the mail or email saying that we had to start wrapping our trash, and I'm like, what? I don't think so. You're lucky we put it in a garbage bag, really. I don't want to spend time playing with my trash. It's unsanitary too. Really weird stuff was going on. But they were also accessing our stuff via services. So let's say one of our electronics broke down. We would take it to get it serviced, or maybe it crashed. We had to get our files repaired. We were noticing files were disappearing. We were noticing our files being replicated by people in this marketing funnel in different various aspects of professions. It's like, wait a minute, how did you get this form? We were using it for this and that, and so they were stripping our property. Yes, your forms, all these things that you make are your intellectual property. It's company property and personal property. They were also accessing people, which I told you a little bit about. Professional people, that could be teachers, doctors, attorneys, any profession, you name it, as an access point. Places we frequented, email, phone calls, etc. You name it, any place you can get access, neighbors even. All of this is a form of surveillance, as a form of access point. Now, to control me from blabbing, an old technique called something like, and I don't know if this is exactly, because I'm going back a few decades here trying to recall what my boss told me about something, and I would overhear things like deep freeze, or something with the word frozen, or iced, or something with those words or that effect in it. Basically, I was given the star treatment, which you would think is a nice thing, but it's not. It was done to me because you don't want usually the talent that is lifted up has to be controlled, has to be vetted to make sure they don't spill the beans, because a lot of people know what's going on, and that they behave properly. Well, you know what? There's a quote that, who said it? Was it Eleanor Roosevelt, that well-behaved women rarely ever make a mark in history or in the world, or something to that effect. Please forgive me, I butcher quotes on accident. But I'm a well-behaved human being. I mean, I don't break the law, I don't cause people trouble. They lie about me and they try to make it look that way, but I don't. Now, I don't behave well when it comes to defiantly standing up to bad guys. But that's not behaving badly, is it? That's actually behaving like an outstanding person, human being in society. So that's what I do. But that's what they don't want. Because when the truth is known, factual truth is known about this is like opening up this whole can of worms. When I say open up that can of worms, let those worms be free. They're kind of cute. Let them be what they need to be. They need to go fertilize things. They need to grow into another form that they were intended to be. You see what I mean? So open that can of worms. Let's deal with this. I'm not afraid of worms. Come on now. Unless you're in grade school. So, my boss, Aaron Spelling, warned me. And we're going to put this up on our website. I keep saying that every time we do videos, and we get so busy. There's so much going on this end about protecting myself and my talent. Because, fresh meat. He knew darn well what I was capable of and my talents, and he was very protective over me, and rightfully so, especially looking back now when I was a kid, and I was kind of still. I think, oh, how cute. I mean, my boss, what was I supposed to do with this information? I know now. So another form, and it's called a control mechanism. My communication of my company and me was extremely controlled. Who I could access, who could access me. Basically, they decided who got in or who got out, in a sense. And this is very much akin to what was done to the Jewish people. They were gleaned as much as I am being gleaned. Resource. I was used as, and still being used as, a resource. I call this modern day slavery. What do you think the Jews were used for? They were used for, it's sick, isn't it? They were used for a resource. Their very lives, they were put to work. That was a form of slavery. They redistributed their wealth, their property. What do you think's been happening to me? No, you can't have what you create and what is yours. We think it should go here. And they, they propped up 10 other people using 10 other aspects that were rightfully mine. The genuine article, meaning the place of origination. Okay, this gets good. If it's not good already. And then other bad issues developed from that because these corporations, and some of them aren't necessarily corporations, but I mean, for lack of a better term, I don't want to keep calling them the they, because that sounds really stupid, okay? And I'm trying to sound very intelligent here, but let's just call them corporations for right now. And again, to disclaim, in case you're just tuning in right now, it's not every corporation. Like I said, most are great. It's just that we're having a hard time getting to them because we're refunneled here, because all our communication is whoop, intercepted, thwarted, interfered with, you name it. So because the corporations wanted to keep me as their resource, because I was their best kept secret, as long as they could keep me a secret, and keep the truth quiet at any cost, really, really bad things happened. And then during this whole process, third parties and affiliates were accessed and used in any way to glean information and get to me and access me, and also to keep me quiet and anybody around me. And sometimes people around me were given gifts, meanwhile I was being harmed more. So I saw this happening, and if you were one of my friends or near me, I saw this happening, we're gonna have to have a little chat. Because you may not have even realized you were being used, but that was kind of what they were expecting. Not in so many words. You do know how they used hint drops, right? Okay, so let's go on. If that wasn't bad enough, I figured out, and so did my family and board, so much and so many reasons why bad things happen to me and my life, because now it makes sense. It's like, am I Ziggy, born under a black cloud? No, I'm a child of Christ. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have a life full of roses, although I do it anyway, because if there's darkness around me, I'll put yellow on. I'll put roses around me. I see it for what it really is, but I can affect my own world, no matter how big or small it is. And at times it was very, very, very confined and small. Yeah, it gets that bad. So, now we can see it from when I was even a kid. Same thing done. Now remember how I said, back here, tech was the access point, or how it was accessed, meaning me or my stuff. And then media was what used it. It was the same formula. So tech with the access plus media with the use equals IP theft, intellectual property theft, and other things. That's just really making it very basic and nice. It really, the other stuff is way weird and worse, maybe. I don't know. It depends how you look at it. So, obviously, we did not have all of this wonderful technology, and it can be wonderful. I'm not saying all tech, all media is like this. No. We're just having a hard time accessing the right and good ones who don't do this kind of stuff, because we're caught in their marketing funnel. You just go round and round and round and round and round. No matter how many times you try to get out, you think, oh good, we got out, here's a person that seems normal, and then they either already planted that person to be there, that's on their side, or they access them and arm behind the back, or hey, we'll give you this gift and just mess with her really bad. So, those details we're going to have to figure out even more. But look at it this way. Before all of this technology that we have currently, they accessed me in different ways. Look at it this way. when my intellectual property, which at that time I was dancing and everything, that was known, but I also was a screenwriter. It was sent to, let's just call it a nameless corporation for right now. It drew attention to me. That I was that good. I became a target. Okay? That put them on alert. But even before that, my family, and I happened to be the most talented out of all of them, and possibly my grandmother too. But that equaled me being a bigger resource and a bigger target because I had more. But if you look back at my history, my family had a lot of talent. And what is notoriously done in Hollywood, especially in the media, they do stand-ins. They do doppelganging, basically. You know, to make a doppelganger, find your doppelganger. Well, you know what? Nobody on this earth is going to look exactly like you at all, no matter what you do. Can you come close? Kind of, yeah, sort of. But, you know, I think that is a defamation, and towards God particularly, because he takes pride in the fact that he makes us all different, because even identical twins do not look identical. Very close, but not identical. And so we were looking into background histories and how different corporations use procedure. We didn't snoop, it was out there in the public. We found out there are actually companies to keep their, you know, theme parks or whatever, their films looking seamless, how they cast people. And you can see that being done in a real life mode. Say for instance, my beautiful mother, look at her. Do you know who she looks like? Just think about it. Her first name is Shirley. Look at when she was born. Look at when she passed on. She wanted to be an astronaut, beloveds, but she was told she couldn't because she was nearsighted. Okay, maybe, could be completely legitimate. Okay, fine. Well, that's a damn shame, and you have the they corporations and talent scouts in a sense. And they just don't scout for, wow, you're beautiful, you should be a model, actress, singer, da 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 da. But they already have a plan, and they're looking. They use schools, they use everything looking. How do we want to shape our society? Well, you know what? We want to find a female astronaut. We want to find a female this. We want to find a da 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 da. And then, you know, there's media that supports it, so it starts brainwashing us and getting us used to it. Brainwashing, good or bad, whatever. It's pre-programming, not predictive programming. You know that, that's the term that, what is it called? Conspiracy theorists. It's not predicted programming. It's a preparatory programming. It's already, it's not a coincidental thing. It's already planned. It's pre-planned programming. Do you understand? They already have the plan in mind, and they get inspired from real life people, from all the means and modes of technology at that time. Surveillance mainly. They look for resources, okay? And then they just make sure that that resource never gets to where they may have wanted to go. Maybe. I know I can look back and say, hey, that's really weird. And I can look back and say, hey, remember how that one marketing company was soliciting us right after we sent in my intellectual property? I was a kid. You know, they wanted to know everything we ate, saw, did. It was fun to fill out. They go by whatever the most current birthday is coming up, although I don't know why the heck that means anything. Kind of a sneaky thing. But, you know, I can see that same in every point of my life when we move to certain places, try to access. And I and my company basically had to bitch them out again what was this, 2 years ago, right before the accident, the first accident. Very peculiar, isn't it now? So, you know, how long has this been going on? I asked that in another video, and we have uncovered a lot. And, God, how deep does this rabbit hole go? It can probably go pretty deep, but this is what I think. I don't think it goes past 1950-ish. Here's why. Television. What a great invention, huh? For those who knew how to handle it properly. In the wrong hands, well, I'm seeing what happened in the wrong hands. I unfortunately am living it. And I noticed a lot of different things that were happening during the 1950s. Now, you know, I'm not going to be picking on too many people here, and I don't want to name entities because, you know, there's a lot I don't know, and I don't want to misstep or make a mistake. But I do know that during that time period and that area in which we lived, my mother was pretty much forced to start learning Russian, and the communistic movement and all of that stuff, everything that was happening, you know, McCarthy and all these things, right, were pretty heady. You know, ladies and gentlemen, beautifuls and beloveds, what is exactly going on here? What kind of movement connection? Should we make that connection? Is there a connection? I see a lot here. Hold on. Wow. You know what? I'm proud of myself. So not only did I do my pitch in 5 minutes, pretty close. I had a long introduction of really nothing, just saying hello and good morning. So I want to say I got it in about 4 minutes, and then I went on into the more in-depth outline. So look at predictive programming. Let's go back to the Third Reich even. That was before television. That was the 1940s. Well, that wasn't really communism, was it? What would you call that as? Fascism, dictator, you know, everybody throws in their ideas about that whole thing, and you can see a little bit of everything. The point is, it was about control. All of these things were about control. And now I'm not talking about Russia presently. I said 1950s, and I don't even know if that's 100% accurate and correct. I have bits and pieces. My family, who are now deceased, had bits and pieces, and I'm finding their stuff. Okay, there's only so much I can do, and there's only so much I really want to get involved with personally. We look back at history. These people, whoever they and how big the they circle is, has factions possibly, has all this stuff, but what is the actual factual truth? Well, going back that far, it's going to be kind of hard to figure it out. But I can speak for current times. My intellectual property has been accessed through surveillance. I am nobody's resource, but they made me one, aka a modern day Scheherazade, or like, you know, the littlest mermaid. Remember that fairy tale? And you know, I never said, hey, you know what, I'll change and exchange my voice for my prince or something, or however that fairy tale goes. Nobody asked me, and I never signed anything. So, you know, I am my own mermaid, thank you very much. I'm the original mermaid, thank you very much. And I have a lot to say about all of this stuff. So much so that I could write about 50, not only novels that dance around all this, but and make documentary films, because we have footage. Oh boy, do we have footage. I could keep myself busy for decades beyond even my lifespan, making amazing things. And obviously other people thought so too, because we found derivatives, cherry picking, exact replicas, you know, mirroring and all of this. I have a big problem with all those. I'm not sure I know how I feel about all of it. I will talk about how I feel about it after the fact.